Okay, let's prep ourselves because there's a lot to this. And I would say, am I about to go old Austin, get off my lawn guy? Yes, but, there's a yes. And I know immediately your eyes glaze over because I'm an expert at old Austin, get off my lawn guy. But this is different. This is something everybody needs to hear. It's different. This is not the standard original Austinite rant that things have changed and I miss the way Austin used to be, which is true for some of us. There's about 5 of us who have been here more than 15 years. That's the standard rant, right? Complain and complain and complain about the way things used to be. I get it. That rant, I own this. That rant has been done countless times. And to be honest, it's pointless. It really is. It's done. It's over. It's pointless. So I am going to make you happy by saying I'm letting that go. And I'll do my best to let that go. But this is a lot different. I'm going to go get off my lawn about the people that have come here and are now confused that it's not like where they came from, and they're pissed and they're complaining. This is a very specific subset. And I was energized by this in a story that was out today. And it made me realize, 98% of people don't want to hear the rant about how Austin used to be. That's not the disconnect. No wonder, Jeff, they tune you out. They don't want to hear it. They don't even understand what you're talking about. And they don't really care. Then I realized, the more I read from this story, the more I thought, no. We've had a complete disconnect. We have a disconnect because you have a disconnect, and you need to shut your face. How's that? I now get what you're complaining about. Shut up. Move on. Okay, so we all. Yeah, we do. We all know the pandemic fast-tracked what was already happening. And that is thousands and thousands of people moving to Austin. I can't remember during the peak, the number was easily, 50, 75 people a day. And that wasn't just because of the pandemic, like a lot of places. That was partly because of the pandemic. The pandemic fast-tracked what was already happening with people moving here, right? And you would hear the same standard stuff. The vision you had, and I am going to cut people some slack that have moved here because the vision, I don't think you quite understood anything. And I think you probably realized it wasn't at all what you thought. But the idea was, of course, the live music, the great food, the tech scene, great weather. And then you got it wrong. And you realize, I got it all wrong. I think I got a lot more wrong. So not only is there a complete disconnect, the reasons you came were all wrong, all confused, and you're complaining about it. Why would I bring this up? Here's why. Story, I think this is the Daily Mail. Says conservative stars now regret leaving California to follow Joe Rogan to Texas. It's not Los Angeles. And there's some funny comments in here. And I now realize what the problem here is. And I'm going to highlight the problem and then give you where there's a total disconnect, where you don't understand, where a lot of Austinites probably can't even articulate it, what people are completely confused about, because this didn't work for a lot of us. It just didn't work for you at all. At all. But here you go. It says more and more conservative stars are beginning to turn on Texas after leaving New York and California. Don't worry, I'm going to rip you. Joe Rogan was the first big star to make the move, with the podcasting titan fleeing Los Angeles and moving his family into a $14 million mansion in Austin in 2020. Many of Rogan's comedian pals followed him there, only to deeply regret their decision after leaving. Tim Dillon was the first to jump ship. Dillon had followed Rogan to Austin in 2020, only to make an emergency exit by the end of that year after discovering the city didn't have enough good restaurants. He says, it's a horrible city without a soul. This is Whitney Cummings says when describing his stint. It's not the live music capital of America, it's 3 heroin addicts busking with guitars. There's zero talent here in any capacity. Then there's the restaurants. There's 3 that are good. I've been to all of them twice. Okay, so there's a lot of comments, and they're sort of funny, and I think they come from a real place with real confusion. Dylan said that Austin can't be compared to New York and Los Angeles. Yeah. Here's comedian and MMA fighter Brendan Schaub. What a resume that is. He said he was heartbroken about leaving Los Angeles, and then he misses the city terribly. I miss my community. I miss my routine. So, okay. In that regard, I'm going to cut people some slack. So let me come at this from a few different directions and try to describe what it is, where the disconnect is completely. Okay. And I'm not saying that a lot of comedians haven't come here. That's, whatever. I don't know how many people that really is. I mean, you're talking 12 or 13. Can I just start with this? I'm sick of the term conservative. Okay, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about, and you're hijacking terms that don't work for you. Okay? I'm sick of the use of the term, and I know why the use of the term, and I don't care if it hurts your feelings. I know why the term is used the way it is now, and that is it is a quick way to hate someone else. I get it all the time, and I'm far more free enterprise and militant free enterprise than any of these yahoo nationalistic conservatives. You're not small government, you're giant government. Shut up. You use the term because that way you can quickly turn on someone and call them names. But you're not it, and stop doing it. You're not less government. You're not even close to the original use of the term. So stop. I'm sick of that. And you're hijacking it, and more times than not, you can't define one single thing. So you've taken the definition that existed for a long time, okay? The conservative definition. And that's not what this rant is about. I'm just sick of the term because I'm sick of the term because it's an easy way to act stupid and call other people names when you don't even know what you're talking about. You hate free enterprise. How do I know? Because you back terms that hate free enterprise. But the term, if you were to sort of find its peak, highlighted as a conservative term, and I'm not saying that a lot of people didn't have problems with Ronald Reagan. Plenty do, plenty still do. But you've taken it from Ronald Reagan, and you have very, very, very little in common with what Reagan was about. The people that call themselves conservatives now is really someone that's about far more government intervention. Okay? There are some of us, and see, you like to call us names because it's just easier that way. It's not at all what you mean. What you really mean is you're nationalists. I can go further with that one. So, as someone who really is about less government intervention in people's lives, some of us are sick of the term. You're not that. You are a big government nationalist. You are not free enterprise. There's nothing happening now policy-wise that is encouraging free enterprise. It's just the opposite of that. Ronald Reagan wouldn't tolerate a single second of it, nor would any, quote, conservative. But you like to label it, and those of us that don't follow nationalistic policies that don't work, by the way, you like to just turn on us and call us names. So I'm sick of using the term, sick of you hijacking it, and sick of you finding an easy way out to not talk about real economic issues. Okay? It's just a way of saying, I hate you and I just want to hate you. So the real category now in terms of Trump policies and Trumpism is nothing like Reagan or anything of the sort. It's a far different form. It's white nationalist conservatives. Is that what you want to put at the end of that? Whatever. So stop with that. Stop. It's a convenient term to use, but you don't stand for any of it. You really don't. But that's not the real issue here. Here's the disconnect. Okay? And I don't know what this... You quote conservatives came here and now you act as if you're shocked by what you found. You came from Los Angeles and you're shocked by what you found. Okay, a lot of people, and if this is what you want to label yourself, I can see why you did not get what you wanted on a number of levels. You came here, or you say you came here, and I hear this from, and I think this is hijacked from the Elon Musk crowd, but you came here with nationalistic policies, white nationalistic beliefs and policies that are the politics of East Texas or Amarillo. Yes, those politics exist in Texas, very much so. Okay? But you came here thinking you're going to get the politics of East Texas and Amarillo with the restaurants and art scene of Los Angeles. That's what you thought. That's what you say you thought you were getting. And you got it all wrong. Okay? You got that part all wrong. Now, it doesn't mean, this idea, first of all, most people who complain don't even know who the mayor of Austin is. Most of the people that complain rarely vote. And then you're complaining about the politics. You don't even know enough about the politics to even utter a reasonable complaint. And there are plenty of reasons for many of us to complain about local government. You've forfeited that, but you keep pretending as if it's just a bastion of communism and everyone is turning over cars and burning them. And it's not that way at all. And you're conveniently calling everyone else names. I mean, this is the home of, here's what I like to say. There are plenty of us. To give you a perfect description, not everybody, because some of us remember when the local government was very green. Not even close anymore. Not even close. Not true. But this is the home of John Mackey. I find myself very much like John Mackey. Granola, yes. Little hippie-ish, yes. But militant free enterprise. You do know those things exist. And I'm pretty certain if John Mackey of Whole Foods, who's very granola, could utter a phrase, he would say, you call yourselves free enterprise? You're liars. So you came here thinking or acting as if you're going to get the politics of Amarillo, and you didn't. And where I get it, where you've screwed up, a lot of people have screwed up, where I can appreciate, and I think Austin, the five of us that are from Austin could also understand. And I think this is an even bigger disconnect. I don't think the politics matters all that much because most people don't vote locally. Most people have no clue locally. But the bigger issue is, I think you thought you're coming from Los Angeles. That's what these comedians are saying. You're coming from Los Angeles. And first of all, Los Angeles is Houston with better weather. That's all it is. You act like it's so cool and so great. It's Houston with better weather. That's what it is. It's just a bunch of concrete. But you came thinking that you're going to live like Los Angeles. You're going to have the restaurants of Los Angeles. You're going to have the art galleries of Los Angeles, or even Dallas or Houston for that matter. I've lived in Atlanta, I've lived in Dallas, and you're thinking, I expect the same restaurants, the same way of living in Austin that I would have the same way of living in LA or Dallas or Atlanta or Houston, right? And so then you show up and think it's nothing like those places. You're right. You're right. The art scene in Austin, if you want to go to art galleries, I don't think that's what this is about, but or the restaurant scene is not as big and probably as diverse as Los Angeles or even Houston. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So you thought you were going to get those places with Amarillo politics, and you end up with neither. Here's the thing with Austin that I think Austinites, people that have been here a long time, know and probably struggle with articulating, and that's this. I think you're probably right. Austin's not a great place to visit, right? You would go to New York to see, to go on Broadway, and you would go to see art, and you would go to eat at great restaurants, and you'd go to LA for, any number of things as well. Austin, the people that like Austin, the people that want to be in Austin, want to be there because it's the way they live. Right? It's not about visiting. It's the way you live. Right? I ride my bike to my kids' Little League baseball games. You run Town Lake, and then you sit in Barton Springs when it's 105 degrees. And you're also probably many people were duped by the weather. You've heard great weather, and then 5 months out of the year, it's 100 degrees. But it's a way that people like to live. You like to live to be on the lake, grab some beers and some tacos. It's just a way we are used to living. And I think that's the disconnect. It's not about visiting. It's about people liking the way you live. It all kind of started with people that would come to college here and enjoy the college life. The college life is about how you live, being on campus, learning, being around smart people. Everything was more relaxed. Everything was more casual. It's how you lived. It wasn't about visiting. So you thought you were going to live in Austin like LA. You thought you were going to live in Austin like you would in Atlanta. And then it's nothing like that. And then the people are like, no. We just go do this. We live a different way. And then you're pissed about it. And you're right. There's not as many restaurants. Yep. I think that's the real disconnect. Like people that live in Austin, have grown up in Austin, or been in Austin more than 15 years, which takes out 99.6% of the population. Been in Austin more than 15 years, ultimately would say, well, yeah, I guess it's not a great place to visit. You come for a music festival. That's not what we grew up doing. We grew up where you'd go to a bar on Thursday night and see a band. You'd find that boring and stupid. You expect a music festival every Tuesday. So there's a total disconnect in liking living here and liking living where you used to be and not understanding why it's not more like that. And although it's coming, we're trying. You're doing a very nice job, a lot of you, from around the country, of force feeding the change. You're going to make South Congress more like areas of LA or even Houston or Dallas. You're doing it. You're pulling it off. It's just not as much as you want. So that, I think, is the disconnect. Right? I expect the scene to be like LA. I expect the politics and the people in politics, even though you don't vote, to be like the politics of Amarillo. Of course, you wouldn't last a day in Amarillo and nobody would blame you. That's where we've got a giant disconnect. You're right. I don't know that too many of us, the four of us that grew up here, would ever say it's a great place to visit. I haven't thought of it that way. We just live a different way. You thought you were going to live a different way, and you thought that whatever that sort of modern day nationalism was going to be the way to go. You get that at the Capitol a lot. But most of those people are from the small towns that you would hate. There's our disconnect. Am I showing some empathy there? I think I am. Did it sound like it? Brandon, did that sound like a level of empathy?
Yeah. You didn't really directly say anything bad about anyone. Directly.
I mean, I can.
I mean, you can.
I said, shut your face. I said, you're lying about your well, you've made up a new term for your politics that is not true. All that, I'm perfectly comfortable with all of it.
Look, just don't California my Texas, man. That's all you got to say.
I'm going to come up with a phrase for Austin, but it's too late. So you mucked up the way we like to live. You did. Okay? It is a much more casual, much smaller way of living. It is. It's the beauty in it was a casual way of living. A business meeting, and I'm not saying, again, you act as if because Austinites have some granola, we have a hippie vibe to us, you think automatically that means that you're, some Subaru driving socialist, which is not true. Okay? It's not true. You're making stuff up. But we liked it. A simple, casual way. And you come from a world that is not casual, that is bigger, that does have more restaurants, it does have bigger art galleries, and you do like giant music festivals. And you thought, where is all that stuff here? And then you say, even though you never vote, then you say, I need my nationalistic politics like I hear for the rest of Texas. And that kind of sucks too. So you're right, been sold a bill of goods, but I think you made a lot of that up in your own mind. I think you made that up in your mind. Or somebody lied to you, and it's 105 degrees. You're right, it's not a good match. Now, unfortunately for us, for a lot of us in Austin, the damage has been done. The stuff that we liked, the way of life that we liked, a good chunk of that has been pretty much destroyed. Not all your fault, but pretty much destroyed. And so we're not left with a heck of a lot, but it's still better than LA, still much better than Houston, and practically anywhere else, because there's other people that just like to live in a much more casual way. That, I think, is the disconnect. Hey, Austin, Jeff Ward here, and I never thought I'd be in an accident and need a personal injury attorney. And then sure enough, less than a mile from my house, I was blindsided. I was injured. My world was turned completely upside down. I called DJC Law and their team took care of everything. I got the best result possible. Don't just take my word for it. They have over 1,000 five-star reviews. So if you're injured, call 512-888-9999 and get your justice at teamjustice.com.